Welcome to the admission policy for PGP-LSM, Liberal Studies and Management Program of IIM Kozhikode. Very interesting, take a look at that. Three-step process similar to IIM Kozhikode PGP-MBA program. First step is that you will receive the registration email from them if you meet the minimum eligibility criteria. If you have gone through CAT 2024, which means that you must have opted for IIM Kozhikode in your CAT 2024, and if you meet the basic minimum eligibility, then you can register for that through their link. Once you do that, then they will calculate aggregate index score, and then they will give you the stage 2 final shortlist for VAT and PI. But let's say you did not take CAT, or you took CAT but you forgot to opt for IIM Kozhikode. Then there is a way which is called GMAT GRE way. They accept registrations through that as well, provided that you must have taken GMAT and GRE between January 1 and 31st December 2024. Normally GMAT scores are valid for 5 years, 3 years in general, but in this case the current score for this year is valid. That's all. So just be aware of that thing if you are applying through GMAT and GRE. The link to apply through GMAT and GRE will be available on IIM Kozhikode website somewhere around end of January. It is not available right now, so keep looking for that. Home edition scores are not acceptable, remember that too. So this is the minimum eligibility. You must have gotten 60% marks in graduation. If you have not done graduation but CA, CMA, CS, then 50% marks in those exams. You must have opted for IIM Kozhikode in CAT 24 form if you are applying through CAT. Then you must have a positive scale score in all sections of CAT, and then CAT overall percentile and sectional percentile. In this case, 10th and 12th scores are not considered. The bare minimum eligibility criteria I'm talking about. So this is the minimum eligibility criteria which is given here. And when I talk about the other exams like GMAT, GRE, these are the specific sections that will be used in place of these sections. So basically the nomenclature that has been used by IIM Kozhikode is the CAT nomenclature, but you can check whichever section is applicable to you. Cutoff will still remain the same, bare minimum cutoff. What about the other thing? If you have not gotten score in graduation 12th or 10th class due to COVID, you have to provide a declaration for that. Let's calculate the AIS, because eventually this will decide whether you will get the VAT PI call or not. These are the components of it. Now interesting thing is that in LSM program, verbal and reasoning sections have this maximum weightage, 40%. And then of course 20% each for 10th and 12th. Work experience you can see just 5%, which means for this program work experience is not a big thing. But your academics in your 10th, 12th and your CAT score is quite significant, especially the verbal. Let's take a look at another interesting thing, that if you have not gotten marks in 10th and 12th class due to COVID, the weightage will be split proportionally. Now for this it is 20% weightage for both. So this weightage will be split proportionally between the scaled sectional score, verbal and reasoning, and the class for which COVID was not there. So I've just calculated that for you, that in case your 10th score is not available, then 53.33% would be the scaling for verbal and reasoning sections, and so on. So you can check that for yourself. This is how we calculated it. IIM Kozhikode has not provided this calculation, we just did it on our own, just to give you a perspective, not a very disruptive thing as such. Similar is for class 12 is there. So you can pause the video and check that out, what the calculation is. Then the next thing is your 10th and 12th percentage. If it is available for you, how will they do that? So they will divide your score with the highest marks in that board. They will use the data of the 3 years including the current year that is available with IIM Kozhikode, and they will multiply that with 20. Finally, we have the diversity score, which means if you are a non-engineer then 10, if you are an engineer then 0. But if you are an engineer and you have also done UG in non-engineering stream, provided that you have gotten 60% marks in non-engineering, you will still be eligible for the academic diversity score. And gender diversity is also applicable. And in this case, both are applicable. So in certain cases, of course, we have seen that either of the two scores are applicable. But in this case, nothing like that is mentioned in the document that they provided. So for female transgender, it's 5, otherwise it's 0. Work experience is similar to what they have given in the PGP MBA program of IIM Kozhikode. So that's quite a big list. So just to simplify that for you, this is how the work experience will look like. Again, not a very significant portion in this case, but if you do want to check where you are falling, you can pause the video and see. What is not work experience? Your cash payments, your part-time work experience, all these things are not your work experience. And if you are an entrepreneur, you have to justify all these documents. And finally, your final shortlist will comprise of your AIS score, which has 40% of the weightage. Then your PI score also, which has 40% of the weightage. Very interesting, right? So work well for your PI. And then keep checking your email for further information. All the best.